Hi, my name is Kasha. Thank you for joining my group today. Today's group is going to be about interviewing, just some tips that you can follow, and hopefully it'll help your next interview go a little smoothly. So first we're going to talk about interview preparation. Maybe you haven't interviewed in a while. Maybe it's just not your strong point. I know when I go to an interview, I'm always dealing with some kind of nerves, a little anxiety. So it just helps, when when I practice and, just prepare for the interview, um, because you don't want to, you don't want to wing it necessarily. It's not even really worth it. I know when I was younger, I would do that and I would usually crash and burn. So definitely, I don't recommend, just winging it. But not only will your interviewer know that you haven't invested much time in preparing, but your answers and your self-confidence will definitely suffer if you don't take the time to properly prepare. I've noticed I've done employment services for a few years now, and I've noticed companies, they want to make sure that you are learning about the organization. We have the internet right at our fingertips. We have our phones. Um, you know, they really do expect people to get on, on your phone, on your laptop, and look at their company, see what their, mission statement is, see how they're involved in the community, really read up on the organization and what they do and what they're about, because they will ask questions. And I'm only sharing this because it's happened to me. They will ask you questions, and there is nothing worse than like, sitting there and like you have no idea because you rushed, you winged it, you didn't really take the time to look up the organization and what they're about and what their mission statement is. And, you know, they really want people to do that. And there's really no excuse today. I mean, we have, again, all of that information, on our phones, on our laptops. So it, it looks really good when they realize that you have done your homework and you've prepared, and, it shows that you care. So interview preparation, you should dedicate at least an hour, to preparing. Like I said, it'll boost your confidence. It'll impress the person that's interviewing you, with what you've learned about the role, what you've learned about the company. You'll just really impress them, and they, you know, will look at you, over maybe the other person that's interviewing. I kind of found this sample formula outlining a 60-minute preparation exercise. So there you can do, use your own formula, but so they are just, recommending 5 minutes of, you spend 5 minutes rereading and analyzing the job description and focusing on the essential requirements and responsibilities. Um, so you can tailor your answers and, just focus on the most important aspects of the job. Um, so again, rereading that job description, and if they are looking for someone that is organized and, high attention to detail, like definitely highlight those things in your interview, um, even kind of backing up, but including those things on your resume. And we'll do a resume group another time, because that's something I really enjoy doing, and it's useful. It's useful information. Um, so yes, 5 minutes rereading, analyzing the job description, and focusing on the requirements for that job and the responsibilities, and then tailoring your answers so that you can highlight those things that they're looking for. Um, and then another 5 minutes rereading your resume and cover letter to review how and why you pictured yourself in the first place. So just being honest, uh, reread your resume. I had an interview one time, this was like only a few years ago, and I was kind of nervous anyway. That's just who I am. And it was a job that I had never done before. So I was already like kind of nervous. And then there were two people interviewing me. So immediately I felt more anxious and nervous. And then as I'm looking, like I handed them a copy of my resume. So that's another thing. Sorry. I would make a copy of your resume for yourself and then also one to give to the person that's going to interview you. But anyway, I hand them a copy and then I'm looking at mine and I notice a spelling error. And I can't even remember the word, but it was ridiculous. Like I just immediately felt so deflated and like, oh my gosh, I felt so small and I just wanted the interview to be over. Like I know they saw that. I saw it right away and was just like, oh, and yeah, didn't get the job. So, live and learn. So yeah, I would definitely reread your resume, your cover letter, again, to review how and why you pitched yourself in the first place. Spend another 15 minutes researching potential interview questions specific to the position and the industry. Super important. Again, it depends on the job. It depends on the field that you're going into. But yeah, all of that stuff, again, is online. I'm trying to think. Is it Glassdoor? I think it's Glassdoor. And I can include these at the end, but Glassdoor.com, they have actually, people will share the interview, what they ask, what to be prepared for. You can go on Indeed and find those things specific to the company and the position. So again, there's no excuse for not preparing and being able to, have an awesome interview because we seriously have all of these things right in front of us. So spend 15 minutes researching potential interview questions. And again, Glassdoor.com. I think it's Glassdoor.com or .org. And then 20 minutes practicing answers to these questions and recalling specific examples from your work experience, such as major accomplishments, challenges, or milestones that will serve as antidotes to strengthen your response to situational and behavioral-based interview questions. I've noticed this too. They will ask, you to give an example of, a time that something was challenging and how you overcame it. Yeah, so I would definitely, practice those things, write them down, practice, think of a time in a job where you were presented with a challenge and, how you solved that challenge, how you overcame that challenge. And, be careful how you say things as well, because I feel like you have to be really careful, especially if it involved another person you worked with. But it's all about how you say it, it's all about how you say it, and then always something positive that you came away from that situation, how you walked away from that situation, but it made you grow. You took something away from it and you're a better person for it. So yes, I've noticed they ask that a lot. So, and then you also have to be careful that you don't, you want to be confident, but you also aren't very conceited about it or boastful about it. Very humble, you know, so it's a very fine line. And, you know, every employer is different, but I feel like interviews have gotten more like relaxed, and because they understand that people are super nervous, and you know, you maybe wouldn't say or do things that you normally would, but you're nervous. So I feel like people are, will give you a little more grace nowadays, but okay. And then so oh, I mentioned this, but again, 15 minutes researching the company, looking into its history, mission and values, and recent projects. So again, we have everything right in front of us, so there is no reason that like, oh, I don't know anything about this company. I mean, it just will look so bad. And they know that we have all of these tools now and this information, so they will ask you. I have been in an interview where they did like, oh, our mission statement, and I had to take notes. And it's not like I memorized everything, but I was able to at least like, oh, like I really, admired that this was your mission statement, and, giving back to the community, that sort of thing. So again, practice makes perfect. It just, when you have prepared and you've gone over your answers, you will feel more confident and you will feel more at ease. So, and I strongly recommend, asking a friend or family member to pose as the interviewer so you can get used to answering questions in real time. And it helps to do a mock interview, because then, you can get that feedback of like, oh, you know what, like maybe don't share that, or, maybe rephrase that to make it sound, like more positive. So, and then also have a list of questions ready to ask your interviewer. So again, that is showing that you are interested in the position and that you've really thought these things out. And, I don't know, I mean, even, I'm trying to think of things I've asked, but even, what does the schedule look like? Because if you're a parent, like that's really important. Trying to think of some other things that I've asked that weren't too, maybe, I don't know, inappropriate, but, even like something simple like, oh, can you tell me what the dress code is like? Just, you could even ask, are there team buildings? Like I really love being a part of a team, and, even like if that's something I can help with, so. But you also want to, not say too much, but it's seriously, practice, and you kind of have to feel the person out too who's interviewing you. Sometimes less is more, so it just depends on the person, I guess, that's interviewing, and even the position. So again, have a list of questions ready to ask them. They're going to ask if you have any questions anyway. So even if you just have like one or two ready to go, it just shows that you want to learn about the role and the company, and it just makes you it's more desirable, as an employee, for them to hire you. So, all right, on to the next topic. Okay, so now we are going to talk about an elevator pitch. So I don't know if you've heard of this term, but it's an elevator pitch, an elevator speech, it is also called. It's basically a quick synopsis of your background and experience. So it needs to be short enough to present during an interview, and the speech is all about you. It's you know, who you are, what you do, and what you want to do. You know, maybe, you know, what you went to school for, you know, some of your skills. It's usually 30 to 60 seconds. Um, so it's just something that you want to have prepared, you know, because most likely, you know, most employers, they start with, so tell me a little bit about yourself. And you want to have something prepared, something that you've gone over, so you're not, and I've done this, so you're not sitting there going, um, you know, and it's just that awkward, you know, silence, and then you're kind of like, I mean, I wasn't really sure what to really tell them. So, yeah. So ever since that happened, I just have always made sure that, you know, I did add some examples here, you know, I recently graduated from college with a degree in communications. I worked on the college newspaper as a reporter and eventually as the editor of the arts section. I'm looking for a job that will put my skills as a journalist to work. And then the other one, my name is Bob, and after years of working at other dentist offices, I'm taking the plunge and opening my own office. If you know anyone who's looking for a new dentist, I hope you'll send them my way. So, I mean, again, just brief, a quick, you know, kind of to let them know who you are and what you're looking for and your skill set. Um, again, it needs to be brief, you know, 30 to 60 seconds. You don't need to include, you know, your entire work history and, you know, career objectives. It should just be like a short recap of who you are and what you do, and, you know, just some of your strengths. And so, again, it's just an employer, they most of the time, you know, tell me about yourself. And you want to have something that you can just give them on the spot, you know, so you aren't, it isn't uncomfortable and you're sitting there going, I don't know what to say, you know, and you get nervous. And then also you will want to practice this. You know, you can record yourself, or you could do a mock interview with a friend and, you know, just practice it so it doesn't sound so scripted and, you know, almost like robotic, so it sounds more natural. So anyway, that is the elevator pitch, elevator speech. And again, I provided these examples, but there are a ton online. So, all right, thank you. Okay, so next we're going to talk about timeliness. Being on time is very crucial. Being on time means being a little early. There are few excuses that will redeem a late arrival, especially with an interview. Not only that, you will also be stressed if you're running late and rushing. I think everyone prefers to be on time, and yes, to me that means being a little early. I don't know that I've had this happen, because being late, running late, it gives me so much anxiety, so I avoid it at all costs. But you know, things happen, right? Life happens, you know, but for an interview, I definitely, you know, recommend being even 10, 15 minutes early. It speaks volumes, you know. Arriving late, it's just, yeah. I've worked in employment services for a few years now, and I had someone, they were late. They realized they forgot a mask, and so instead of like calling and saying, hey, I don't have a mask, like, you know, do you guys have one I can use? I'm like, really sorry, it just, you know, I forgot. They went and got masks, and then they were late, so then they just didn't go to the interview. So, you know, just always, you want to be on time. Again, life happens, but even, that communication, letting that employer, like, look, I am so sorry, because life happens. But if you can't, always be early, 10, 15 minutes early. So if you're interviewing on site, do whatever you need to do to get there 10 to 15 minutes in advance of your interview time. Plan your outfit, pack your bag the night before, set an alarm, ask a friend to give you a wake-up call if you need to, leave extra early, just to even plan for, potential transportation obstacles. So just always planning ahead. I'm going to touch on the outfit thing. So, I could do a whole, I guess, PowerPoint on that, but, women, for interviews, you want to keep your makeup, just low key. And trust me, I love makeup. I love it. So, but, just minimal makeup, minimal jewelry, something simple. If you can put your hair back, I'm always messing with my hair, so I try to put it back like this. And just, like I have like a blazer on, and I'm not, you can wear a dress, you can wear a skirt, make sure the skirt is, long enough, at least a little past your knees. I don't know, I don't wear skirts. You'll wear black slacks, black pants, and then, just like some flats, some dress shoes. I'm not very fashionable, so I'm doing my best here, but, just simple, professional, again, not a lot of jewelry, no heavy makeup, even maybe no heavy perfumes. And yeah, because that's a huge part of what they will be looking at as well, how you present yourself. Men, you can wear button-up shirts, with collar, pants, and, nice shoes. And trust me, I understand that, a lot of us, we don't have, access to maybe like a new outfit, and there are programs out there, if you do need something to interview in, and they are out there, and I can provide those links at the end, but there are specific programs out there that if you need an outfit, work clothes, something to interview in, they will provide those. They will help you with those services. I believe you do have to qualify in one way or another, but again, and I'm trying to think what some of them are called, but I know there's a lot more, like in Phoenix. I worked in the Coolidge area, and there weren't as many programs out that way, but yeah, so again, I realize that not everyone has, maybe doesn't have a blazer and that sort of thing. So I think employers, take that into consideration as well. Just looking professional, clean, definitely shower that day, brush your teeth. So I know it may sound silly, but there's some people that maybe they're not used to that routine. So anyway, sorry, that was kind of longer than I expected it to be, but just presenting yourself professionally, with your clothing, and so planning ahead, setting an alarm, just making sure that you're going to be on time. So then when you're interviewing online, if you're doing like a video interview, ensure that your technology is working ahead of time and you have good internet service. So this has happened to me as well. And I thought I had everything ready, It was my husband's laptop, and like the interview started, and like I was like, oh my gosh, I can't hear anyone. And so it was so super awkward. I'm only sharing these things because I don't want you to, go through the same thing because it's so embarrassing and it's so, yeah, it just makes you feel like, oh gosh, great. Yeah, so make sure your volume's working and you know where it's at. So, yeah, make sure your technology is working, you know how it works, where the volume is on your husband's laptop, and make sure you have good internet service. So yeah, the last thing you want is like a glitch, and it holds everything up, and it's just awkward and it's uncomfortable. So okay, so on to the next topic. Okay, so the next topic is confidence. So, you should be willing and able to promote yourself, your experience, and your accomplishments, and during the interview. But you, of course, do not want to come across as arrogant, narcissistic, or, self-important. So it's a very fine line of, you know, being confident and like, these are my skills, I feel that my strengths are these, um, but that fine line of like, I can, do everything and I won this award. Like, you just have to find like a balance. Um, so again, it takes practice. Some of us are harder on ourselves, and we need to bring up, the strengths, and really sit down and like figure out, what are my strengths? And sometimes we need to ask family, we need to ask, friends, colleagues, say, hey, can you help me, like, just can you help me come up with like 3 strengths? And because sometimes other people see things in us that we don't see. So also another thing is, you don't want to come off right as self-important and, like they said, arrogant. So again, it's that fine line, and also not talking so much about yourself that it can come off as kind of arrogant. So again, practice, practice, practice. And when we get nervous, I do it too. We can ramble, we can go on and on. I'm so guilty of it. So again, all of this, just the more you practice, the more you do it, the more comfortable, the more confident you'll be, and it will come more naturally. So anyway, no matter how good you are at your job, you're going to run into countless obstacles. If you lack the emotional intelligence to work on a team and get along with managers, coworkers, or clients, that's going to happen. When we start a job, especially I think when we're new to a job, we do run into obstacles, and sometimes that stuff, when we aren't sure or we do make a mistake, like, it does affect our emotions and just how we get along with other people. So just you want to find that balance again of confidence, and during that interview you can discuss your achievements, but be sure you want to give credit where it's due, to show them that you're a team player. So you could, for example, you could say, I feel like I'm really good, building relationships with people, with listening to people. And then you can say something like, I contribute that, to the team I worked with. Like, we had a lot of team buildings, just kind of tie in the team aspect of it, so to kind of show them, that yes, these are your strengths, but like you don't want to take all the credit, so they can see, that you have good teamwork. So also that kind of ties in with confidence is, just taking a deep breath and, speaking slow enough to where they can understand you. Just, and think about what you want to say before you speak. Another thing I'm guilty of, I will get nervous and I'll just, and I think I have to answer right away. And it's like, it's okay, to like pause and really think about how you want to answer that question. And, it just, confidence, it goes a long way. And some of us, it comes naturally, and others, it's difficult. So, anyway, just another thing, that the more you practice, the more you work at, and even like meeting goals at your job, it's going to build your confidence. So, all right, on to the next one. Okay, so the next topic is expressing optimism. So, you know, like we talked about before, your words and your body language, you know, show your attitude. Um, this will show your positivity, the way you carry yourself. If you go into an interview and you're smiling and you're polite, please, thank you. That goes a long way. No company ever wants to hire someone with a bad attitude. I'm sure we've all worked with people that have been difficult to work with. They don't have a good attitude. Maybe we have been that person, and we're human, and it's just you just do not want to work with that person. And companies, like, they do not want to hire that. If you come in to the interview room and you have baggage and just the arms crossed, and it just immediately is like very closed, and like you don't really want to be there. So just always smile, be polite. um, if you do get uncomfortable, I mean, I just think it goes a long way to just be honest and be like, I'm really nervous, like, and kind of just show them that, like, okay, I'm nervous, but I'm going to be okay. And I can, have a good sense of humor. So also another thing to keep in mind is to never badmouth your former employer, or, any other companies that you've worked with. You also never want to complain about like your personal circumstances. Again, life can be really hard, and we may be struggling with life, but you really have to try and keep that separated from, searching for employment in the interview. And it's just very unprofessional. So you want to be natural, just, just be optimistic, be positive. Again, how you interact with people, you know, smiling, I mean, it goes a long way. And I don't know, I'm old fashioned. I'm very big on like manners and like, please, thank you, may I, you're welcome. Like, I don't know. So I think that stuff is very important. Eye contact, active listening, all those things that we've talked about. So just, back to like if you, let me back up. So a lot of interviews, they will ask you, can you tell me about a challenging situation and how you overcame that? And you have to be really careful because, you don't want to like bad mouth a former employer. You don't want to, throw people under the bus. It just is never a good look, and it's kind of a red flag of like, oh, Is this person going to, bring a lot of drama? Um, so, but they will ask you, about a challenging situation. They always do. And you should always include and mention like how you helped to solve it and what you've learned and how it made you a better employee, a better person. And so you can be honest and share a challenge that you faced, but then you always want to back it up with a positive, this is, I'm aware of it, this is what I'm doing, to work on that. Yeah, I mean, it goes a long way. Let's be honest, we all have things we need to work on. And I mean, I just think it goes a long way to be like, yeah, I struggle in this area, but I'm really trying to work on it. Like, I joined this group or I'm reading this book, you know, just to let them know too that you are human. And again, you're humble, you're not, you think you're, special, super important, arrogant. It just shows them, that you're real and you have flaws too, but you want to work on them. Also remember your body language matters as much as your words. We kind of talked about that, the crossed arms and slouching and just all things, that maybe you never thought about before. But it's body language. If you could even watch some YouTube videos, just about like our body language and the things we do, like even how we sit, how we, put our hands, cross our legs. It just, all of that, it speaks volumes. So also, walk in with a smile on your face, offer a firm handshake. That is huge. That's really important to me as well. Sit up tall at the table, when you are engaged in conversation, kind of lean slightly forward to, show interest. And yeah, so there's all these little things, that maybe you never thought about before. I know I didn't. And yeah, so again, there's so much on the internet that you can watch. I'll include another link at the end. There's this woman, I can't remember her name right now, but she does a ton of pre-employment, employment-focused videos, and she's amazing. So I'll include that as well. All right. Okay, so strengths and weaknesses. We talked about the elevator pitch in the beginning. That's when you introduce yourself, you kind of recap your experience, you promote your most valuable professional assets. You just make sure you're comfortable talking about yourself, but then know how to discuss both your strengths and weaknesses. You definitely want to emphasize your best qualities and greatest skills while putting a positive spin on your areas of improvement. So I did a lot of coaching with this in the past. People really struggle with coming up with strengths. Again, just maybe not a lot of confidence. People, they don't always see themselves in that light. So it's really beneficial to ask, someone that you trust, just, hey, can you help me? Like, I'm having a tough time. I just need to come up with these strengths. And I think that really helps, and then also weaknesses, that can be tricky too, because you don't want to give too much information or, too personal, and, and they're like, whoa, like, I didn't need to know that. So again, it's finding that balance. When I would coach people, we would always make a list of, okay, what are your strengths? And then like, give me examples of that. And even when we worked together, I would always be intentional about pointing out like, hey, you know what, like you did a really good job with presenting that, or, you were really engaged today, or, we would call a business together, you know, to see if they're hiring. And I would be like, you know what, you did so awesome on that phone call. And, you know, just let them know, like, you know what, this is a strength of yours, and, or, you know what, you're improving. And people get excited about that. We get excited, you know, when we're like, oh my gosh, like I'm improving in an area. So, and then as far as weaknesses, that can be tricky too, because like I said, sometimes the weakness, it doesn't really match up with maybe the job that you're interviewing for, or maybe it's just like too personal. So, you know, a weakness, I'm trying to think of a common one. Maybe when you first start a job, you don't feel confident, you know, but you can say, but I am, you know, I'm on a journey, you know, to help my confidence. I'm reading a book about, you know, just being more confident. And then also you can say, you know, I'm learning to lean on my team more. And if I'm not sure about something, you know, I'm having the courage to ask them for help, you know. So again, it doesn't have to be super personal. You want to be real, but, you know, you wouldn't want to be like, I'm trying to think of one, but I'm late all the time. You know, that's kind of like, oh. But, you know, hopefully someone could help you even with that. You know, what a weakness is, and then always putting that positive spin on it. And again, there's people on YouTube that you can go to, and this one I'm thinking in particular, but I cannot think of her name right now. She does specific YouTube videos, and I think one of them is strengths and weaknesses. So you always want to take that weakness, because you also do not want to say, oh, I don't have any weaknesses. Don't do that. So that just comes off as very like arrogant, and like, you know, just like you don't have anything you need to work on. And so always have at least one, and then put a positive spin on it. You know, what you're doing to improve in that area. Let's see. And then you should also be able to exert some level of control over the conversation. So for example, if an interviewer tries to trip you up with a tricky question, which they will, like, have you ever had a bad experience with an employer? Or tell me about a time a coworker wasn't happy with you. You should be able to answer the question while bridging your response into a positive. So again, going back to turning that into a positive, and it shows how you learned or grew from that experience. So yeah, and then you should always have questions on your own to ask the interviewer. So again, strengths and weaknesses, I recommend, you know, making a list, you know, putting that in your elevator speech, and then again, practicing that. And really honing in on when you do talk about the weakness, to show what you are doing to improve on that. So, all right, so this is the end of the group. Thank you for joining me today. Just a short recap. Again, the interview, your preparation. Remember to keep your elevator speech, keep it short and sweet. Your elevator speech is a sales pitch for you, about you. Be sure you can deliver it in 60 seconds or less. Focus on the essentials, say who you are, what you do, and what you want to achieve. Be positive and persuasive. Your time is limited. Focus on what you want to do, not what you don't want to do. Be upbeat and flexible. Practice, practice, practice. And then be sure to deliver your speech to a friend or record it, just so you can review it, and you want to make sure that your message is clear, and you know, maybe there's something you want to work on. So, and then I will also provide some links at the end, just, you know, to get more interview prep and just some more tips. So anyway, thanks again.